Okay, so in this episode, we are going to learn how to create this final product right here that you see. This is the Photoshop hot lesson. So let's go back to the top of this. We're going to start this project. So the first thing we need to do is create our document. Our document needs to be 7 by 4.5 at 300 resolution. We'll go ahead and click OK. We've got our document set up now. First thing we need to do is go ahead and get our gradient tool up. So we'll go ahead and click on the gradient tool. Don't forget that when they ask to go to the options bar, that's the bar that runs across the top of the screen. If you click on the gradient annotator right here, the editor, we can go ahead and start creating a custom gradient. I'm going to start with just this foreground black one here. These bottom little bars here are called sliders. If I click, I can add another one. So in the directions here, it's asking that we set the color to 0, 50, and 105. Click OK. That's going to be the outside there. Oops, I lied. Give me 105. We need to do the same thing on the right-hand side. So the left and the right-hand side stops, those are both going to be the same. That's going to create this dark to light to dark gradient that you see in the final product. In the middle here, we need to go ahead and we're going to set that to 0, 100, and then 155. We also need to set the location. If you take a look there, it says that the location needs to be at 75. So we'll go ahead and click OK on that. We need to create a new layer for this gradient to sit, and it also asks that we drag from the bottom to the top, or from the top to the bottom of the document. So we'll click, drag, hold shift down to the bottom, and then we've now created this gradient in which our text is going to sit on top of. So we're on step 2. We're going to get our text tool up. We're going to make sure we've got impact chosen as our text, but if you do at this point want to change your font, you're more than welcome to. You don't have to stick with impact, but I do ask that when you type your word, you do a school appropriate word and you do it in all caps. I'm going to stick with the suggested text here. The directions asked to do a Control-A. That has selected everything on the document. Also, with your move tool up, you're able to use your alignment keys to kind of snap that text to the middle, both left and right, up and down. From here, what we can do is we can now move on to step 3. We want to do a Control-D though, so we don't have anything else selected. We're going to do this liquefied filter. So we're going to go to the window filter menu, and we're going to go to liquefy. We do have to rasterize, so go ahead and click OK. Don't forget to change your settings. I've already got mine set, but essentially you're going to come in here and you're going to try to deform the word a little bit to make it look like it's a melting ice cube. All right, that looks good. We'll click OK. We got that done. You can see it's kind of taking effect there. At this point, we now need to go ahead to step 4, and we need to set the transparency of foreground lock. So we'll click that. It's going to allow us to do what's called a cloud render to it. So I've locked it up. I'm now going to go to the filter menu, down to render, and click clouds. Oops, didn't work, right? Because you got to take a look at your swatches over here. They need to be in the default position, which is black to white. So let's try our clouds again. And there we go, we got our clouds. Once you've done that, we're going to go to the edit menu, and we're going to go edit stroke, and we are going to add a 5-pixel stroke weight, and we're going to click OK. That's added a nice little stroke around the outside of it, and now we can apply our blur to this layer. To do blurs, we're going to go back to the filter menu. We're going to go to the blur menu, and we're going to select the correct one that the directions are asking for. Make sure our settings are right there, and we click OK. At this point, it does look like the directions. It looks like what we're following along here. It says that we need to create a duplicate layer. Easy to create a duplicate. We simply drag that and drop it into the new layer icon. You'll see that it makes a copy. The directions want us to turn off the copy for right now. We're then going to go back to the original hot layer, and we are going to do what's called a plastic wrap. So we need to go to the filter gallery. This is the one thing that is different from CS6 to CC. You now have a filter gallery. By clicking on that, we're able to go to artistic and we'll go to plastic wrap and click OK. You can see it's gone ahead and done our settings for us. At this point, we're going to go back and we're going to turn on hot copy. We want to make sure hot copy is selected, and then we are going to come in and do a Chrome detail. So we're going to go back to the filter gallery, and we're going to go to the sketch, Chrome, make sure our settings are good, click OK. So now we need to start changing our opacity or our blend modes of our layers here. So with hot copy being selected, we need to go ahead and try to get this gradient layer to come through, and that's done by changing our blend modes. So the first thing we're going to do is change that to overlay. Blend modes are right there in the layers panel box, and you can start to see pieces coming through. And then we're going to go ahead and kind of drag and make some copies of everything and then start arranging the different type of light that it should be. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to make another copy of the Chrome. We're going to drop that one down to, and then we're going to drop another one in here. So we made 3 different copies. So we've got hot copy 3, hot copy 2, and then hot. Hot copy 3 should be hard light. I'm just looking at the little picture over here. And then hot copy should be an overlay, so we'll click on it. Hot copy 2 should be back at hard light. And the very last one, if we turn that to overlay, boom, there we go. We've got our water. It's looking nice. From here, you can go ahead and you could adjust some of the settings if you would like. If you come into the top one here and simply start to play with your opacities and stuff, you'll get some changes to take place if you want. It's not a necessary step, but feel free to mess around with those if you would like. At this point, we need to go ahead and group our layers together. So I'm going to click on the top layer, hold Shift, and click on the last one. That has selected our 4 hot pieces there. We can go to the drop-down menu and click New Layer from our New Group from Layers. Go ahead and click OK. It's made a copy of it for us. We can drag that whole group down to the new layer icon, and we just duplicated it. Then we need to go to the Edit menu. We're going to Transform, and we're going to flip it vertically. I'm going to hold Shift and drag straight down, and now we've got our hot text being reflected. And on step 13, we need to add our layer mask. So with group 1 being copy being collapsed again, we can click on the layer mask icon. Boom, we got that done. And then we need to click on our gradient tool because we want to apply a gradient to it. Where the gradient editor is, we need to choose the second option over. And then we are going to drag from the bottom of the screen up towards the bottom of the first set of letters. If you're unhappy with what your mask looks like, you can go ahead and just kind of play with it and see how you make it disappear if you go that way. But obviously, backed it up just a little bit. So we got a little bit of fade to it. If you don't like where it's sitting, you can come back and select just the groups. I don't have the mask selected anymore. I can actually get my move tool and move that text within inside of there. So the ability to change stuff is still there. And at this point, you would probably want to go ahead and get your name in the corner. So I'm going to come in here, change my font size to maybe like 16, and type my name in the lower right-hand corner. And at this point, it is ready to print. You would just go ahead and print it to the color printer. You're not going to change any settings, and then turn it in on my desk.